watched it, so I must be new.
Thank you for watching the Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze YouTube channel. Super kick the like button. Let it rip in the comments. And give that subscribe button a hard punch.
We're going to finally settle something once and for all and see who is the baddest of the bunch.
Let's go to number 6, and you got it here as the Bullet, but it's obviously Bob Armstrong, so...
Oh, it is?
They're going for the mask. They're going for the mask. They're going for the mask. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's go to black. Let's go to black. Let's cut away. Well, I'm sorry. I never should have called for that. I got so carried away.
We did it, good son! Everybody says it's all fair! Everybody knows it's all over!
Well, we got it! I'm terribly sorry, gentlemen, but at the moment that happened, we seem to have had a technical problem.
What?
And I don't.
What are you talking about? Everybody's saying you got it on tape!
No, I'm sorry. We had a technical problem. We had to go to black.
What are you talking about? You had to go...
Bullet, you heard it, the people heard it. Technical difficulty, nobody sees nothing.
Hallelujah! I told you before, somebody up there likes me.
Yeah, the Bullet, man. Bullet Bob Armstrong. Yeah, a lot of people think that he started that gimmick just to start the gimmick, but actually came after a weightlifting incident.
Thing called, funny enough, nose breakers. And you do triceps. The bench flipped. When the bench flipped, that 180 caught him right here and ripped his nose off. We took him, they went to the hospital. We go to the hospital, check on him, and they're frantically searching for his nose. Yeah, we went back and found it at the gym. It was over the corner in some dust, a big hunk of meat in the gym.
It wasn't worth saving,
No, it was nasty.
The dumbbell crushed the side of his face, and he had to have a lot of reconstructive surgery.
I might look a little different to some of you people because on the 13th of January of this year, every bone in my face was broken. 250 pounds of steel crushed it. My jaws were wired together. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. I had to breathe through a tube through my throat. And when you get that close to death, you do a lot of thinking. When you're staring at the ceiling, can't speak a word to anybody, you think about the good things and the bad things that have happened during your life. It took close to a month for plastic surgeons to put all the bones back in place, and while they were working on me, one thing stood out in my mind that I'm very unhappy with. 2 years ago, I did something that I'm really very sad about. I believe in my heart I cost the Tennessee Stud the world title. I also busted his leg.
And even after recovering from the surgery, thankfully, because he's a great performer and a really good man, Bob Armstrong, he would donate from time to time, bringing it out when he needed to. And he started a lot of feuds, mostly in the South. You know, he started with the Stud Stable and Continental. He used it on Georgia Championship. He used it, throughout Georgia, Carolinas, mostly down south, like I said. But Bullet, man, when I got to work with him, he was the commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I think they built it up over 18 months between him and Cornette. The build-up was there. The build-up was there. And, finally they had that. So that was in the, early 90s there. And, of course, at some point, after Bullet, the commissioner Bullet Armstrong against the loudmouth manager Jimmy Cornette, once that built so high and they actually got to, the bullying point of it, it's time for a good friend of Bob's named Bullet has to show up. Bob was just a really, really good worker, or the Bullet was, I should say, both of them were. And I always liked him under that hood, man. He would have that hood on. And, he was an Armstrong. He had them big arms, but he didn't have big legs. And I heard him in an interview one time say, you never seen a thoroughbred with fat legs, So, but he had his singlet on, and he'd stand back behind that curtain, and they'd come out the bad to the bone at the time. And he'd be standing there, and he'd get them legs a going. And he was a little bit older when I met him, of course, but he'd have that mask on. He had a great body, great body. Went to the gym with him several times down in Georgia when I was down that way. Used to work out sometimes. He done his own thing. I'd be with Steve or Scott. We'd do our own thing, Brad was on a whole nother level as far as working out goes. But, Scott and Steve, we did our own things. But Bullet, hey, he was intense. He did his own thing. But, that curtain, back to that Jody spot, if you will, he'd be standing right there, and that music would hit, man. And he'd have that mask and that body, and he'd start moving that foot. It is almost like, using the presence of Elvis or something, the way he'd get that leg going, And, man, whenever time was right, he'd bust through that curtain. And I don't know if he went anywhere he didn't get a pop, because everyone knew the Bullet was over when he come out, So that's my memories of the Bullet, and that's why I have him at number 6.
Yeah, and I want to just point out, when Cody Rhodes comes to the ring, he's got that video package that says, wrestling has more than one royal family. The Armstrongs are a sadly overlooked family in the lineage of wrestling royal families. That guy created a dynasty of wrestling professionals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just, I always want to take the time to take a quick aside and say, the rest of us need to remember the Armstrongs. The North remembers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones.
That's okay. That's cool, man. No, I tell you, the Armstrong's always been good to me, and I always been good to them too. That's just the way it works. But I could tell you some of the Armstrong stories that's not even funny, but one of them that was funny was Brad, had all the talent in the world, and he was still working at WCW when Road Dogg was still performing back in WWF at the time. And I was on vacation. I was working for WCW. I was on vacation, and I was listening to Howard Stern, and Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were on the show, and someone called in and said something about Brad being a jobber and Brian having all the talent in the world. Well, Brian didn't take too kindly to that. And he said, let me tell you something. And he went on a big rant, but basically what it amounted to, he said, my brother Brad has more talent than all of us put together on one finger. He goddamn has more talent than you. And he said, I'll tell you what, and he just buried this collar, but it's true, man. Brad had so much talent, Bullet had so much talent. They all had so much talent. Sometimes, though, and Brian just, was just defending his whole family, basically. But, and Brian had that great run. Of course, Scotty's a booker and an agent there now, and they both work there as agents, and that's great, but yeah, Bullet, man, that Armstrong family, what a great group of guys right there, man.
Yeah.
For the National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight title. First of all, making his way to ringside, the challenger, weighs in at 231 pounds. Here is the Bullet. Making his way to ringside, the pinnacle of the National Wrestling Alliance. He is the World Heavyweight Champion. He weighs in at 242 pounds from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Here is the Nature Boy himself, Ric Flair, the world champion. The referee for this title match, Ron Rick. One fall, television time remaining. One fall. The NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair, now taking off that ostrich-plumed robe and handing it outside to Mike Jackson. Ric Flair with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt around his midriff. This match is one fall, technically with a 1 hour time limit. The ring announcer mentioned television time remaining. That part is true. We will bring you this match in its entirety, depending on the time. The champion caught the bullet, and it looked like it was a little bit low. Champion had chopped into the throat of the bullet. In the event this match goes beyond our television time, we will bring you the balance of the match next week here on Continental Championship Wrestling. Snapmare by Flair. The bullet powers out. Flair, the champion, very much in control. Crashes down with that knee. And a serious turn of events here for the challenger, the Bullet. Deep double underhook. Flair trying a bit early, in my estimation, for that pinfall. Can't blame the champion, however. Stop into the throat. Another stop into the throat. The Bullet fires back. And we got up here. Six are going here. And the Bullet now exploded. The champion is down. Champion coming up rather slowly, and the Bullet catches him once again. High backdrop by the Bullet. The Bullet catches him a hard right hand to the side of the jaw. Flair is down. Flair now making his home in Charlotte, North Carolina. Went to the University of Minnesota. Flair rolling away from a backslide. A series of hard right hands that rocked the champion. And it was the champion catching the challenger in the midsection. Stops away again, and it's the Bullet firing back. And Flair in trouble. Those eyes crossed. He fell to the canvas. The Bullet, should he win this title, would become the first masked man ever to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Beautiful bridge. And now a backslide. And again, Flair rolls away from it. The Bullet connects with a hard right hand. Flair almost impaled on that far ring post. And the Bullet now delivering some boots to the midsection. Flair having his problem. Flair back to his feet. Flair catches the Bullet. Catches him once again. And once again he catches him. The Bullet could be in trouble here.
Flair with a side headlock. The Bullet fires him off. Flair catches him with a good shoulder smash. The Bullet is in behind him. Rolling reverse with a good saddle rock. Broken up. The Bullet catches him at the belt line. The Bullet catches him under the chin. He drives the knee to the midsection. By the way, in the event that we have to cut away for a commercial break, I can assure you of one thing. Our camera crews will continue rolling, and we will bring you a pinfall or submission hold should it occur during a commercial break. However, we will bring you this match in its entirety. The Bullet fired outside the ring. The Bullet coming up very, very slowly now. And it's Flair bringing him up. 5. Hey, vertical suplex, but he broke it up. Got him. Flair had his foot outside the rope. Wait a minute, the referee didn't catch it. The referee didn't see it. He's got a new world champion. No, wait a minute. He's got a figure 4 on him. He's got a figure 4 on Ric Flair. The Bullet has a figure 4 on Ric Flair. And there's nowhere for Flair to go. There's nowhere for him to go. He got that shoulder off just barely in time. But Flair desperately reaching for those ring ropes. Flair desperately reaching for the ring rope. Again, the referee down there checking those shoulders. I'll tell you what, should a pinfall or a submission all occur while we're away for this commercial break, we'll bring it to you on instant replay. But right now, we'll break away for this commercial message. Because we do have some things we need to look at. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, and I think all of you here tonight join me in saying, this is indeed the uncrowned world heavyweight champion, the Bullet. I appreciate that, Gordon. You know, this man El Fuego came in here and twice cost me a fair shot at the world heavyweight champion, Ric Flair, but I got good news. I got a special telegram from Bob Geigel. He said, Bullet, you'll have a return match within 30 days. Only this time there'll be no time limit and no interference. Anybody interfering in my next match with Flair would be suspended from the NWA, as Bob Geigel put it, indefinitely. That's the fact. And here it is now. That's the fact. Before this program is over, the Bullet and El Fuego will meet in the ring. That's exactly right. We'll take care of one problem at a time. I'm going to get him out of my hair, and then we're going to take a look at Nature Boy. And you got a film right here that will show exactly what happened in my match right here on TV last week with the Nature Boy. Exactly. So I'll tell you what, let's do right now. Let's go to that videotape. You'll see what we're talking about, and I'm going to ask the Bullet to bring us that action as it occurred. You'll see what we're talking about. So right here, Gordon, you can see I got the 1, 2, 3. I thought I was a world champion. The referee came and told me there was some kind of discrepancy. It seems that Nature Boy Ric Flair's foot was about 6 inches underneath the rope. Well, I wasn't going to take no chances. I pulled him to the middle of the ring, took that figure 4 scissors on him, and he ain't going nowhere. He's in the middle of the ring. He's fighting. He's reaching for ropes. He's doing everything he can do, but he ain't going nowhere, as you can see on this film. Finally, he just lays back and lays his shoulders down. Almost got a 3 count on him. Now, you know this figure 4 hold. A man can't stand that over 30 seconds to a minute. He's going to have to give up. I've had it put on me. I know about the figure 4. Believe me, the Bullet knows what pain you have to go through. And no living man, world champion or not, can stand this for long. Now, you see, he's reaching for the rope. Had to get a little leverage. He's right in the middle of the ring. And when you hit the man in the middle of the ring, he ain't going nowhere. And you can see he's laying flat there, just hollering Uncle Calf Rope. He wants to give up so bad, but he sees that 22 pounds of gold in his eyes. But the Bullet had him. I had him locked in. And in just a minute, you're going to see the reason that I didn't become world champion right here on Continental Championship Wrestling. See, Flair's he's just leaning back now, trying to relieve the pressure, can't get the rope. He's got about 2 inches inches, I guess, to hit the rope. Here comes El Fuego. This time I was waiting on him, brother, and I'm going to try to pull that mask off right here. I'm jerking on the mask, and here comes Nature Boy, the good backstabber that he is, and cross my running lights right there. Now, there's going to try to put a stop to the bullet right here, but I ducked, and I hooked the sleeper that my good friend Bob Armstrong called me. I had the sleeper on him. Here comes El Fuego. All heck broke loose at this amount of, it's this proper time you're looking at right here. And thank goodness I had some friends also that were watching the action today. You can go, Ric Flair takes the fighter. That's good enough for that. I just want to thank everybody for following the bullet, being behind me. And I'm going to tell you this, brother, when we get Ric Flair back this time, he is ours.
Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.